The special counsel, Robert Mueller, is turning up the heat on the Trump campaign. He's issued a subpoena for more Russia-related documents because he doesn't think they've turned over everything. At the same time, the Senate Judiciary Committee is asking Jared Kushner to turn over more documents as well. Members say records released by others in the campaign show Kushner received and forwarded emails about WikiLeaks and a so-called Russian backdoor overture and dinner invite. But those emails were not included in the batch Kushner turned over to the committee. Now they want to know why and if there's anything else Kushner left out. Let's bring back our panel. Laura, what do you make of this new subpoena from Robert Mueller and the implication of Kushner's failing to turn over those other emails to the Senate Judiciary Committee?
Well, I'm surprised this record keeps skipping for Jared Kushner. Why is there continuing to be a trickling down of information about whether or not you've handed over comprehensive information? On the other hand, from Mueller's position, remember the greatest thing about his particular probe is the grand jury. They have subpoena power, and the purpose of subpoena power is to be able to get information, to get the documents, to get witnesses to come in and testify. And so as you're wrapping up any grand jury investigation or in the midst of one, you want to capitalize on the availability of that subpoena power. This could very well be a cleanup measure to say, I want to make sure we are capitalizing on this subpoena power and we're going to get everything we need. It may or may not be a reflection that they don't think they have quite everything for the specific person. It may more be that they want to get the subpoena power to be, comprehensive. On the other hand, this is a pattern that invites so much scrutiny and speculation. And frankly, this selective amnesia that keeps happening, especially in light of all of these controversies, WikiLeaks just last week with Donald Trump Jr., this is not a novel concept. You would think to yourself, oh, WikiLeaks, that was a problem with somebody a couple days ago. I remember this conversation in my own life. It's surprising they failed to do so.
Rick, hold on a second. Rick, I got the letter here from the chairman, the ranking Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee. People Chuck Grassley is the Republican, Dianne Feinstein, the Democrat. And it's a tough letter to Abbe Lowell, the lawyer representing Jared Kushner. I'll read one line to you. Other parties have produced documents concerning a, quote, Russian backdoor overture and dinner invite, which Mr. Kushner also forwarded. And they say, why didn't you forward that?
And yet his lawyer maintains they forwarded it. They produced everything. So I don't understand it. I mean, it makes all the sense in the world if you're under this type of investigation. Abbe Lowell's a seasoned guy, a lawyer. Just air and turning more over as opposed to less. That's why I just don't get it.
Because it does raise, David, suspicions that it's not the first time. There have been at least 3 or 4 or 5 other cases where documents that were supposed to be handed over were not handed over, but then eventually they were handed over.
We have a series of revelations that we can't, sitting here, put together and make a determination about. But what we know is there's a revelation after the administration writ large says, oh, nothing here, no collusion, no cooperation, Russia was nothing. Oh, well, that thing, yeah, but that's nothing. Oh, that thing, oh, yeah, that's nothing either. The real problem is, from the very top, the President of the United States has said publicly this whole thing is a joke and that it's just a hit job by the Democrats. So where is the pressure down the line for people to actually be transparent about what context they may have had, innocuous or not? I mean, Rick said, Abbe Lowell, I know, Jamie Gorelick, who represented Jared Kushner. These are fine lawyers. So, and there could always be lapses in the lawyering or in the disclosure, or there could be bad clients who are not putting over what they ought to.
It's interesting, Anna, because Senator Lindsey Graham, he just issued another statement saying President Trump has a blind spot when it comes to Russia and he can't figure out why. Can you?
Maybe because they have something on him. I mean, it leads to speculation. The constant and the very consistent way that Donald Trump deals with Russia, deals with this investigation, leads to questions that are yet to be answered. And you've got Lindsey Graham, who takes this issue incredibly seriously, but is also, in a very goodwill way, trying to work with Trump. Now, Trump doesn't only have a blind spot when it comes to Russia. He's got a blind spot when it comes to his relatives. Because this stuff with Jared Kushner, I'm not sure that in any other presidency, somebody would be allowed to stay in the inner circle of the Oval Office of the White House with the amount of lapses, lies, lack of disclosure that this young man has exhibited. I mean, he's either negligent and sloppy, lying, or has the worst case of early onset memory loss that we've seen in history. He should go see a doctor.
I think that I really believe that Donald Trump is acting the way he is because I don't think he believes there was any Russian collusion, because I don't think he was involved in any of it. He probably knew nothing about it. And I think for him to react this way, given his reactions on other things, that whether we're true or not, in this case, I think he feels he did nothing wrong. He knew nothing about it, and he's reacting accordingly. So I think just the opposite. I think if there was something there, I don't think he'd be acting.
You think that when he called out on Russia to look out for the 33,000 emails of Hillary, that was just coincidence? He just pulled out one country out of
if I was doing something colluding with the Russians, the last thing I'd be doing is publicly out there talking about colluding with the Russians.
You could be right, and that would still be an appropriate response, because there may have been collusion that he didn't know about. There could still be a crime that was very close to him, and he's saying this whole thing is a joke.
I accept that as a possibility, but I think he doesn't see it that way.
Well, the notion that there's no there is one you can use in a tagline, but it's not one that's going to placate Robert Mueller or a special counsel. Because the more you tell me not to think about an elephant, guess what? The only thing I can picture, an elephant. And the more you tell me that I have forgotten about this issue and I didn't realize about that, I invite scrutiny, I invite speculation, and the magnifying glass that's above Jared Kushner, the inner circle of Trump, gets bigger and bigger because of self-inflicted wounds. And remember, a lot of the things that people do, and they assume that, oh, it'd be so silly if one were to have been involved in collusion to have done just that. Well, you overestimate the logic of somebody who's an alleged criminal. People make a whole host of mistakes. And of course, Mueller's team and special counsel, their entire job as investigators is to find out about those moments of stupidity.
I just want to wrap this up. Our Jeremy Diamond just got a statement from Ty Cobb, the president's personal attorney, saying this: President is paying his own legal fees, as was always his preference. He does not want to deplete any funds that may be available to assist current and former staffers. The administration and others are working with the Office of Government Ethics and Tax Specialists to create a lawful mechanism for payment of fees for staffers. It is expected to be operational shortly. That statement from the president's lawyer, Ty Cobb. Everybody stand by. There's much more news happening, including some fireworks right now up on Capitol Hill.
How many times do we do this before we learn this?
Listen, I've honored you by allowing you to spout off here. And what you said was not right.
Two senators fighting over the Republican tax bill. Who's right? We're going to check the facts.